Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's edition of Take 5, our Q&A series where we chat with the leading experts in retail media. Today, we're very happy to be joined by Melissa Burdick, the co-founder and president of Pacvue. And she will be in conversation with Sarah Hughes, the head of marketing for InMobi Commerce. Melissa, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Awesome. Thanks for introducing us, Matt. To start us off, Melissa, let's kind of start with maybe an easy question, but why do you think retail media has become so popular lately with brands, retailers, advertisers?
Yeah, that's a great question. Besides the amazing growth of advertising dollars that are very profitable, I'd like to think about this from really two sides. So the retailer side and then the advertiser, the brand side. So on the retailer side, Amazon really pioneered the commercialization of their first-party data and traffic to their site by developing this ad program. And it's grown to be this big $30 billion business with tremendous quarter-over-quarter growth. As retailers face these increasing costs, and e-commerce is a high cost to serve channel, it's really an attractive way to offset these through profitable ad dollars. And then also retailers have just so much great traffic and customers coming to their site. So it's a great way for brands to get traffic and awareness of their products. Then from the advertiser side, brands are constantly trying to get in front of more customers, generate more awareness and market share. So the retailers have this very powerful first-party data that enables these brands to be hyper targeted to attract customers to their products. On Amazon, you can even conquest competitors. So for example, if you're Coke, Pepsi can bid on the keyword Coke and show up on the first page. And it's also compelling for non-endemics. For example, for a minivan car manufacturer, they can target women buying pregnancy tests even before they buy newborn diapers. So they can start capturing customers during a very big buying consideration phase. It's very powerful.
Do you think a lot of the news about the third-party cookies going away, do you think that also led to some of the acceleration of retail media? I know you kind of mentioned the importance of the first-party data that retailers have, so just curious on your thoughts about that.
I mean, it certainly makes their advertising more valuable and attractive to brands. Amazon stands, they still are impacted slightly, and something they've alluded to is that they're working on new targeting models such as probabilistic modeling across their publisher network and new contextual targeting to overcome identity resolution issue. But at the end of the day, first party data is really going to win, and Amazon is very well positioned in that. So I think that makes it and when you talk to brands and agencies, the first party data is highly attractive to them.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. So you're kind of in a unique position of working with brands and also retailers. Are there any kind of new ad formats or kind of retail media experiences that are emerging that you've seen really excite brands and kind of unlock some maybe dollars that weren't being spent before in retail media?
So I think that really depends on who you ask. Sometimes the unsexy ad formats like sponsored product ads are like the sexiest because it drives sales. But something that I just did a panel a couple weeks ago at Commerce Live, and on my panel were J&J and Mondelez. And these guys are the CPG industry. They love Twitch. So this is a really exciting format for them. Sour Patch Kids, which is Mondelez, they teamed up with Tim the Tatman, who I don't really know who that is, but my 10-year-old video gamer son does. But they're really able to create these like experiences that the brands love and tap into this new audience that they also love going after.
And so as more and more retailers kind of enter this retail media space, they start getting their own media networks. How are you kind of advising brands on the best ways to most effectively reach their target audience when they're trying to advertise across multiple retail media networks?
I mean, that's a great question. I mean, one of the things that we really help with at Pacvue is that we're unifying retail media. So first and foremost, it's very helpful when you can see everything in one place. This sounds harder than it should be, but it is difficult. To basically, you would have to log into all these different user interfaces across all these retailers. So we kind of bring all that data into one place, into a holistic report. So at least first and foremost, you can see all your performance and all your metrics across these retailer platforms. Right now, the way that brands are thinking about this, they're not being very fluid with their budget across these retail media platforms, especially on the enterprise brand level. They're really, channel by channel. They look at Amazon, they look at Walmart, they look at Instacart kind of separately right now. But the other piece of this is brands have finite budgets. Like they don't have, just because a new platform launches doesn't mean that magic money comes out of the air to go be on these platforms. And so part of it is really making sure that the retailers are creating the best experience possible to attract the brands. And what the brands don't want to do is just move, one person buying a tube of toothpaste on Walmart to the same person buying the same tube of toothpaste on Amazon. That's not the goal. The goal is really, incrementality, finding new shoppers. We know different behaviors on Walmart, lower ASP items convert better on the first page, for example. So really being able to understand what products, what customers on each of these platforms perform the best, and be able to kind of treat it as a portfolio. And software can help you do that as well.
I think it makes a lot of sense. And it seems like as kind of omni-channel shopping is getting more commonplace and shoppers are shopping through a lot of different channels, a lot of brands are starting to break down those silos a little bit and start thinking about what's the best way, most effective way I can reach a shopper, not just how do I reach a shopper through this channel or this retailer. So that's great to hear. So kind of in that same vein, as retail media continues to evolve, do you have any advice or tips for how brands and retailers could work together to create a better customer experience?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things is brands are always asking for data and then to action that data. So I think that during the pandemic, for example, we saw e-commerce search behavior actually change away from specific long tail searches into generic searches, as well as an increase in branded searches. We're also seeing micro-season and holiday shopping start earlier, and shoppers are using e-commerce sites the same way that they do for Google, that they do for research. So something that the retailers can really do is help provide quick insights on shopper behavior changes and then mechanisms for the brands to react. And selfishly, from my perspective, the best way they can do that is push all their data into the APIs, which we use to build tools and can automate real-time actions based on this real-time data. But I think that, what brands are asking is help us understand who the shopper is on your site. How can we best attract them? What are the best products that we can give to them that are different than other retailer sites? So I think that, this first party data that we've been talking about is hugely helpful, but the question is, great, don't just give us the data, but let us action that data and take advantage of the data.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think data is going to be a really powerful lever it already is, but even in the coming years, it's going to be even more powerful, I think, and having brands and retailers work together to provide that data, but then to your point, to actually act on it is going to be huge. So in the next few years, even in the next year, how do you see the retail media space evolving? Are there specific things that you kind of see the retail media landscape looking like?
Well, if the history is any indication, I think that we're just going to continue to see more and more retail media platforms launch. So last year we launched, Walmart, Instacart, Target, eBay. We've launched lots of retail media platforms. This year, DoorDash has launched. So I think we're going to continue to see more retail media platforms launch. More platforms means more competition. More competition means there's going to be more innovation. So that's good for brands. And I think that we're going to continue to see this integration of retail sales and operations with media. That's something that we're doing as well. And then in the end, I'll end with a quote that Diana Hausling, I was in a meeting with her. She's the head of commerce for Colgate. Hope she doesn't mind me quoting her, but her advice was, don't focus on where the dollars are coming from, whether it's trade or shopper marketing. Just focus on building the best possible experience brands will be attracted to. And I think that's really good advice for these retailers as they're continuing to build these retail media marketplaces, both the sponsored listings, but also they're creating experiential advertising opportunities as well. So make it compelling for brands to want to invest.
I think that's a super important point that sometimes gets missed in the evolution of new media spaces and new marketing strategies, is keeping that customer experience kind of front and center. And retail media is a little bit unique because retailers, to your point, are creating experience for their advertisers as well that makes launching campaigns, getting data easier and simpler, but also making that experience really seamless for the customer. Well, Melissa, those are all the questions I have. Thank you so much for joining us. For anybody listening, if you would like to learn more about retail media and how the space is evolving, visit pacvue.com or mobi.com to learn more.